Elsie and Donna are keeping secrets. Larry pulled one over on Dr. Kendall, and London and LoJack have reintroduced themselves. This is my breakdown of Carl Weber's The Family Business Season 4, Episode number 4, titled Trigger Happy. The scene opened with Elijah at the beach, and he got stood up by Sasha. Sasha told him that she was going to come to the beach after she visited the hospital, and we'll find out why she's at the hospital a little bit later. Well, I'm going to go ahead and tell you now, because what I'm going to say next will then make sense. Later on in the episode, Orlando got a phone call from Ruby saying that their son needed a transplant. So of course the entire family is at the hospital and they're trying to find a match for Orlando's son. And she told Elijah that she was going to go to the hospital and then meet him at the beach later, but she never showed up, nor is she at the hospital. So of course we found out in the last episode that he's going to ask Sasha to marry him, and she's nowhere to be found. Now, I talked about this in one of my videos from last season. They are going to have problems. Period. Now, we all know that Elijah is a virgin and Sasha is not by any means. So that's going to be a huge problem within itself. But now she's standing him up. And where is she? I bet we can come to a conclusion as to where we think she may be, right? But I really hate it for Elijah because he's really nervous. He's really anxious to talk to her and to take her hand in marriage, and she didn't even show up. But I really hope that I'm wrong in this instance, that maybe, I don't know, something else happened, but I don't think that I'm wrong. And in the meantime, at the Hellfire Club, Danielle has a death wish, apparently. For whatever reason, this grown woman is lusting over little Nevada. Like, seriously, she intentionally goes against Consuela's wishes to not touch him and to leave him alone, right? Because he's pure. But you're always going to have that one who wants to go over and beyond, breaking all the rules just to see if they can get away with it. And for the life of me, I don't know why they would put this young, impressionable, attractive Duncan dead smack in the middle of a brothel, and he's a virgin. Like, you got naked women walking around all day long, you know, just, I don't know, just, it doesn't make sense to me, but it's very interesting to say the least. I just hope he holds out and, you know, Consuela's not going to have to put her hands around one of those girls' necks, because I can see that happening, you know, very soon. I mean, Nevada, he's a kid, right? And, you know, a growing kid. He's going through adolescence. So I don't know. We're going to see how this all works out. So in the next scene, we see Dr. Kendall here, who has fate killed Samuel. And listen, I know that Larry is very special, right? But in some instances, he really seems clever, right? In some of these scenes. And I talked about this in my last video. Like, he's really clever sometimes. But he and Brother X are in cahoots against Dr. Kendall. And they kind of put their heads together, and Brother X rigged the medical machine somehow to make Dr. Kendall think that he killed Samuel. And this is all so that Larry would have one up on him. He wanted to get dirt on Dr. Kendall to hold it over his head to make him comply and do whatever it is that he said. He wants him to owe him one. He wants him to be indebted to him. So if Dr. Kendall thinks that he killed someone, then Larry holds all the cards. And this is exactly what happened. Larry told him he was going to call the police. And Dr. Kendall started panicking. He was like, no, don't call the police, because then they're going to look into my background, and then back to the hospital I'm going to go. Don't call the police. So in exchange for Larry not calling the police, which is exactly where he wanted Dr. Kendall, he has to do whatever Larry says. Because we have to remember, in that interview that he held last week, the only thing that he wanted Dr. Kendall to do was to be loyal to the asylum. And here in this scene, we find that Brother X can do something other than kill people. He knows how to work machinery, hospital machinery. I don't know, maybe he has a tech background of some sort, but he was able to rig that machine quite well. And here we see Consuela giving Danielle some last minute tips and pointers on how to handle Kenny. Kenny is her new client, right? And apparently he has reactivated his account there at the Hellfire Club. And when they said reactivated the account, I wonder where he's been this entire time. Like, was he just at home in Waycross, Georgia, just chilling? You know, I don't know, kicking it? What does he do for real? But he reactivated that account to celebrate taking out a member of LC's table. So then we move back to the Hellfire Club, and we see one of the girls having algebra problems. And of course, Nevada being Nevada, he went over to help her out. And we found out that he tutors students at his school. So now he's able to tutor her, and she's forever grateful. And I just feel like these two are going to hook up somehow. They've got something in common. So this is how it starts, right? Instead of warning Danielle, she probably should have taken some of her own advice. Then last episode, we were introduced to Curtis's sister here. And Nene called her in because Curtis apparently can't find Kenny. So she called his sister to help find Kenny. And here she's snooping around the grave, or this area, this place where their dad has all the money stashed. And I don't know, apparently her and Kenny, they know exactly where to go because they're finding this money pretty easily. And then earlier we saw two people dumping a dead body in a grave. I don't know if it's the same spot or near the same spot, but it's an open area, and I don't really know who they were, so I'm not going to mention them yet. Maybe it'll, like, in the next episode, but I don't know who they are or whose body it was, but, you know, it looks like the same area. So now we're all at the hospital, and as we can see, Sasha is nowhere to be found. And let me just point out here, I just absolutely love Orlando's character. I mean, they kind of remind me of The Sopranos, The Godfather, Scarface. I don't know. It's his voice, his energy, the way he carries himself. It's very inviting and it's very captivating. So I really like his character. He's doing a great job. But there's a lot of tension here. Of course, we know that the Dashes cannot stand the Duncans and vice versa. And Ruby just happens to be married to Vinny Dash. But it turns out that their son has some sort of genetic disorder where he's going to need a bone marrow transplant. And then as they're finding all of this out, in walks Harris. And of course, the Duncans want to know why he's there. Then Antonio had to let them know that Harris is now working with them. And Harris is their cousin by way of his dad, Sal, whom he killed in season 2, I think it was. Season 2, I think it was season 2, where he actually killed his dad to show his loyalty to LC, which of course we're finding out that he wasn't loyal to LC either. So he's just a biscuit. I cannot stand Biscuit. Oh my gosh. But I love the character, right? So we find out that he was calling his cousin to take the position that they had for him. And everybody wanted him. Everybody wants old Crooked Harris here because he knows LC's business inside and out. And he's crooked. He knows how to do a lot of dirty business. So he's been hot on everybody's radar, but now they can stop with their pursuits of him because he's decided to go with the Dashes. And we'll just go ahead and fill in the sister scenes here because the money that she pulled from the ground, she used it to buy a motorcycle. Well, I guess she's definitely going to need some wheels while she's in New York. So she went to this lady's house, and I guess she found her on Craigslist or something. I don't know. But she went to her house and she bought the motorcycle, but it didn't come easy. She had to hold the guy up because the guy was being a jerk when he was trying to give her $4,000 for the bike when she wanted $7,000. So she flexed her muscle a little bit to get that bike. And here we can see the similarities of her and Paris. And I think that she's going to be the one to replace Paris because apparently they've all been groomed to assassinate people. At first, I thought it was going to be Keisha working with Rio in that way, but now that I, get more into the episodes, I see that she's more similar to Paris than Keisha is. So maybe this is Paris's replacement? I don't know. Time will tell. Then back at the hospital, we see Ruby talking to Chippy, and she told Chippy that she didn't expect to meet Orlando's family in that way. And she said that she was afraid that they'd snatch Vincent, their son, away from her. And then Chippy calmed her down. She said, listen, we're family. And listen, I can understand Ruby. I can understand where Ruby's coming from because the Duncans have a crass reputation for taking whatever they want when they wanted. So she was well within her right to think that way. But Chippy, she gave her a little bit of comfort and told her that they're family and that she's not going to do that. You know, she wouldn't take her son away from her. And then Ruby, she stood her ground. She was like, well, I'm not going to let anyone take him away from me. So she's kind of letting Chippy know that she's afraid of the family, but you know, she's not too afraid. And if it came down to it, she's going to protect what's hers. Then in our next scene, we see London picking up her daughter Mariah from school. And I think that now that she's not attached to Harris anymore, that she's living her best life. I mean, last episode, she was in bed with the stripper guy. And now she's being introduced to Logan, or reintroduced to LoJack. And this is not their first introduction, because Sasha and London held a gun to LoJack's head when they were looking for Brother X. So she definitely knows who he is. But it turns out that their daughters are kind of besties right now. They're in the same class, and LoJack's daughter is leaning on London's daughter for support because she lost her mom. And they did a really good job of establishing how they will be moving forward from here, because in this scene alone, we learned that LoJack is single. Of course, London is single. Their daughters are best friends, and they're attending the same school, which is also very interesting because it lets us know what type of father LoJack is, right? Or Devin. He's working very hard so that his daughter can have the best education. And of course, I know that London probably, you know, she doesn't have a problem with paying the tuition, but neither does LoJack. So he's there right with her financially, regardless of their occupations. So this scene was packed with establishing how they're going to move forward from here. And y'all, this next scene, oh my gosh, I laughed the entire time. Larry is giving Donna a call, and he wants her to come and see him. And, he was telling her that it'll be beneficial for her to be there around 10 o'clock in the morning. And she was like, I ain't going nowhere to see your crazy. And then he goes, well, it's not a request, it's a command. And, Donna is not taking Larry seriously at all. Of course, she was shocked and surprised just to get a phone call from him. And she's definitely not taking him serious. She told him to go and draw a picture and play with some clay. Oh my gosh. I really hope that you guys saw this scene. It really cracked me up. Then we moved to Junior and the Italian Don Frederico. And Junior pretty much expressed to him that he was not happy that Vinny was back in town, and he wanted Vinny dead. So then Don Frederico told him, look, we've got bigger fish to fry. Jeff and Jimmy Lee, they've been murdered. And Jeff and Jimmy Lee are the two Asian guys that sat at Elsie's table. And these are the two who Don would deal with in getting the fire or the heat or whatever drug they were selling that day. He said he had to end that meeting and to make sure that he told LC what was going on. So LC and Junior are talking on the phone, and they're kind of putting two and two together. And he found out that Corey Black had also been killed by a sniper. And of course, we all know that sniper was Kenny. So they discussed the fact that Don Frederico is having a problem with controlling his family. He told Junior to make it priority one that he set up a meeting with the table. Then Junior, being a newbie at his new position, he was asking his dad, he said, is that going to be necessary that we hold a meeting? And LC told him, look, I've been in this game for a long time, and if you have a member of the table taken out within 24 hours, like 1 or 2 members taken out within 24 hours, then that is cause to hold a priority meeting. So here he's giving Junior a lesson so that moving forward, if anything like this ever happens again, Junior knows what to do. Scrub-a-dub-dub, Donna's in the tub, and we have a Larry sitting at the edge of her tub like... Listen, when he first initially talked to Donna, Donna had all the clap back. She was ready. He didn't have anything for her, but now that he's right there in the same room with her, she ain't got nothing to say. Her mouth is on mute. This is another scene that I actually really enjoyed, and I cannot wait to see more scenes with them, and also the scene that he's going to have with LC eventually. I'm sure that's going to come up sometime during this season. But he wants Donna to join him in taking LC down. And she told him, well, I've made my peace with LC and I can't do that. And he told her it's not a request, it's a command. And if she didn't do it, he was going to tell the world about her and LC's little secret. And I wonder what that secret is. See, I told y'all, Larry's only crazy when he wants to be. Otherwise, he's scheming and planning and murdering and plotting and doing all kinds of stuff. But that concludes this episode, season 4, episode number 4 of Carl Weber's The Family Business. And if you like this video, I'd appreciate it if you give it a thumbs up. And if you're a fan of The Family Business, go ahead and sub to the channel because I do video breakdowns like this all the time. Thank you so much for joining me on today's episode of Ruthless TV, you guys, and I'll see you on the next one.